So you've trained for over a decade, you've stayed up all nights, triple checking labs, and even watching patients take their last breath. And you know what you're talking about, but somebody on TikTok with zero medical background just convinced thousands of people to stop taking their meds. And I don't know about you, but this is infuriating. Gone are the days of just saying, hey, I went to medical school, so you should listen to what I'm saying. Now we live in a different world where, in my opinion, you guys are the ones that should be making these kind of content so that we can understand what's right and what's misinformation. But the truth is, it's becoming harder and harder to do. And here's what I need you to understand, is that no one has walked in your shoes. No one has seen the patients that you've seen, has gone through the training that you've gone through. And so it's really important to hone in on what makes you unique. And that really comes down to is, what is your story? Stop worrying about trying to go viral. Listen, if you stay consistent and share things that are honest and valuable, then the attention will come. But you got to take a step back and say, hey, you know what? What are those experiences that I had in life? What is those experiences that I had in the clinic or the hospital that really drove me and built that fire within my stomach to say, I've got to make a change? For me, it was taking my mom to the cardiologist. We sat in the waiting room with a bunch of different people, finally got called back, waited in the actual doctor's office for another half hour. Finally, she came in, and you know what? We got 15 minutes with her. That's it. My mom tried to explain what was going on with her, and very quickly the doctor interrupted, saying, oh, based on the labs, here's what I'm seeing, and we're going to try you on this new medication. And before she could even ask any questions at all, the doctor was out the door on to her next patient. And for me, as a healthcare provider myself, I'm a physical therapist. I said, you know what? This is not good enough. And to be honest, it wasn't this doctor's fault. She was simply put into a system where she is unable to see people the amount of time that she really knows she needs to, because she needs to make her quotas. And with the way insurance is going, this is only going to get worse. So we ask ourselves as saying, you know what, if we know this is happening, if we're going to get less time with our patients through the traditional insurance model, then how can we still reach these patients? Because one-on-one, we're spending time trying to educate them on things that they don't really know much about, but we need to find additional ways. And that is through media, social media specifically, where we can now get out and share our experiences so that people can learn. Now, the biggest mistake that I see doctors making is that they try to lecture and teach us things. But the truth is that story is going to be a way more and powerful way to actually lead to change. And that's because it evokes emotion and it really allows me to go into your shoes. We call this narrative transportation, to say, wow, I wonder what it's like to be a doctor, or I wonder what it's like to be the patient that they just treated. When we hear these stories, we can relate to them, and that is actually going to lead to a higher chance of me saying, wow, you know what? That makes sense. I'm actually going to trust what they're saying. So stop worrying about trying to go viral. Instead, focus on what's my story. And I always recommend you start off first with just creating a story log. I have a Google document, so as soon as I think of a story, I put it up there. And we have all these stories that are somewhere deep in our mind that we just haven't been able to pull out. As soon as they do, go ahead, update them in that document. And then from there, you'll say, you know what? It was this story that made me want to write a book. It was this experience with a patient that made me want to step out of the clinic and start educating. And as you go, the next step is to say, how am I going to tell that story? And everyone's going to tell it a little bit differently. There are a bunch of different storytelling frameworks that you can look into trying. But when it comes down to it, it takes practice. You need to try telling that story over and over. And don't assume that someone has heard it just because you told one person. There's a good chance the other person has not. And so you might be thinking, is my story really worth sharing? Let me tell you this. There are millions of patients out there, many of which you have seen people before them that have had similar issues. And if only they could find a way or listen to a story of someone that was going through something similar to them, and learn how someone like you as the doctor was able to take them from a suffering state into a place where they could take control of their health and really get back to those things that they love. You know what? It's those stories that are power. It's those ones that are going to lead to transformation. So every day that you wait and you are afraid to share that story, is another day that we're missing an opportunity to really educate that one person who really needs it. Whether you get 1 or 1 million views, that story is worth sharing.